Hey, friend. Oh, I'm so happy to be with you again. Listen, I was talking to a sister this week, and it gave me an idea that deciding to move and knowing how to downsize and what to get rid of and how to pack could be a challenge. So I'm here to help you with that today. Oh my God. So I'm going to talk about a fast track way to declutter, downsize, and how to come over not being, weighed down by 13 suitcases. It's mind-boggling to me when I hear those things. But before we get started, allow me to get on one of my many soapboxes. In America, we have fallen prey to the idea that bigger is better. You hear that a lot. Everything is bigger in Texas, and we walk around like I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're a multimillionaire and you can live in a five-story home and with land and 50 rooms, have at it. But I'm talking about the average because you know me, my audience, the single older woman, we are average folks. We're not rich. A lot of us depend on Social Security and we're just all crazy about what could might happen. We are the average Joe, the person who worked hard for 30 plus years and tried to save. But that's what I want to talk about. The reason a lot of us don't have any savings is because we have bought into the lie that we have to have the big house, we have to have the expensive cars, our kids have to go to private schools, and we have to go on this expensive vacation and just max out the credit card with no savings. We just bought into it and it has destroyed us. Most of us have no money for retirement because we have bought into the lie. When you go to Europe and you hear people say, oh, they think of Americans as being kind of uncultured or whatever. But a lot of time, their philosophy of life is different from ours. Europeans are just happy taking the bus, the metro their whole life. They don't feel the need to have a car. They don't feel the pressure to own homes they can afford. And then they go on holiday every single year for weeks at a time. The mentality is so different. So understand that as we're getting older. So I realized that, but it was kind of late when I did realize it, right? So when you're trying to change your mindset to move abroad, and then you have all this stuff, this is why it's becoming such a headache. It's like, how do I downsize a five-bedroom home with all the trinkets and stuff that's in it? And you look at it and you're like, oh, and it becomes so overwhelming. So I want to give you some tips about how you can, hopefully you understand what I'm saying. That is not really the best thing to have because we already done it. Accumulated all the trinkets, all the stuff we just buy and buy. And trust me, even before my last house, I would spend hours a day looking for this little thing to put in this little spot, this pottery that's going to go on top of my shelf. Yes. And it's not really a bad thing. But if it's become so much and we're surrounded by so much, and then we're like in our 50s and we're like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this stuff? So, this is what I want to talk about. Realize that we don't need all this stuff early enough. Don't wait until it's like 2 weeks before you decide you have to get away and then you're overwhelmed with it all. Okay? I go into some people's homes now. Before it was like, oh, it's so beautiful, it's so pretty. Now I go and I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of junk. I'm thinking you have to dust the thing, you got to clean it. It's just too much. And then you become attached. If a kid runs into your stuff and breaks it, you have a royal fit because your emotions attached to a piece of pottery or whatever. Sis, I'm going to say that gently. Not that it's a bad thing, but I think as we start getting older, we need to start switching our mindset and kind of detach a little bit so that when it's time to get rid of it, it's not heart-wrenching. You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, yes, we have heirlooms and things that are passed down from our grandparents, but it can't be a truckload. It can't be a few items, not a truckload, okay? So as we try to think about a minimalist mindset, which is what we need to have developed early enough in our lives, 40s, 50s, we need to change our mind and say, okay, let me see how I can start downsizing, decluttering, because when it's time to move, it's going to make the process so much easier. It's going to make my job easier when I try to give you an 8-week fast track to decluttering and downsizing and packing for your move abroad. Okay? All right. So before we go any further, you know me, this is your sis, Maggie. I'm a retired nurse practitioner. I have been retired in Panama now for 2 years and almost 2.5 years. And I absolutely love it. I still love it. Now, granted, there are things happening in the world around us that are giving us pause. We're just like thinking again, but this is life, recalibrating, rethinking, reimagining, re-envisioning. That's what we do. And that's why it pays to be alert so that nothing kind of hits you upside the head by surprise. You need to be able to see beyond what is here to the possibilities of what could happen. But I'm very happy in Panama. I love this country. I love the people. It's just sad that, we have threats like everybody around the world does nowadays. But anyway, I'm also the creator of SWRA, Single Women Retiring Abroad, a group of sassy older ladies, older, who have decided to retire here in Panama and create a life aging in place, reinventing a model of aging as we reinvent ourselves. So the dream, the goal, the visions are unchanged. We're still here. All right. That doesn't mean we can't shift. I always talk about the power of shifting. We should always be in a position that if we need to shift, then it's not, earth-shattering. So I want to tell you that yes, you can downsize this house, this apartment. Some ladies that I've spoken to have done it, and I'm like, wow, this is great. They're like, well, yeah, so my house, when I became an empty nester and I bought a condo, bravo. That was such a visionary move, okay? And I wish most of us would be at that point. When you become an empty nester, and if you never had children, let's say you had a major life event, let's say you went through a divorce or whatever it is, ding, ding, ding should be, oh, maybe I need to change my life. Maybe I need to simplify my life. This is the goal. And if you're listening to me, my videos are not just for single older women like myself. I get a lot of comments of people saying, I'm not single and I'm not retired. I'm not even looking to move to Panama or to move abroad, but I appreciate your videos. Thank you so much. I love you for saying that. Because the principles are universal. As I was going on my little soapbox in the beginning saying that we bought into the lie, imagine how simpler our life would be if we had not bought into the bigger is better. That I need to compete with my peers, that I need to show the accoutrement of success by wearing designer shoes, designer clothes. That's a lot of burden, sis. We've been imprisoned in this mindset. So let's free ourselves from that. So if you had downsized way earlier, it's going to be a lot easier. But if you hadn't, I think it pays for you to start decluttering early on. Things that you don't need. You know, you don't need 3 cars. You can only drive one at a time. You don't need an 8-bedroom home. That means you're going to have to maintain it. You got to dust it. You got to clean it. You got to pay a cleaning person to come. Downsize. You don't need 3 sets of china. You don't need like a whole wall full of knickknacks and glasses and pots and potteries. You don't. So start by have your friends come over, have a party and say, this is a downsizing party. What do you want? Take it away. That's why I started to do 2 or 3 years before my move. I started to say, I don't need this. I went into my closet and I counted 120 pairs of shoes. And I'm like, who needs this? I'm not, is it Imelda Marcus? I know there was a lady who did that. You don't need that many pairs of shoes, sis. It takes room and collects dust. You don't need 50 handbags. I know. Again, we bought into the lie. Downsize. Goodwill. They have women coming out of prison who need clothes and outfits. Give it away. Give it away. Get in the habit of thinking about it as a freeing yourself. You like right now you're in prison by the stuff. Start getting rid of it. So if you start downsizing early, it makes the process easier. All right. So as I'm talking about the fast track downsizing, decluttering, I'm assuming that you are at the point where you've decided you want to move abroad. You've decided where, you've done your scouting trips, you've researched the visa process, and all this stuff is already done. You just at the point, it's like, okay, now what do I do? This is what I'm going to talk to you about. Okay, you ready? All right. So decide what you're going to get rid of. Now, if you're going to come to, let's say, a country like Panama, for example, like I said, you've seen these people on YouTube telling you they came with 7 suitcases, 11 suitcases, and I'm doing the math in my head thinking, I know how much COPA, charges if your suitcase is over the 50 pound, and if, you have more than 2, that's money. But do you really need all that, sis? This is the thing. In your mind, if you're moving from a 5-bedroom home and you're going to come down to Panama and you're going to be in a 2-bedroom home. Now, I know a lot of ladies come here and they're like, well, I need an office and I need 2 rooms for my guests. Let me tell you, I have a 2-bedroom apartment. I have been here 2 years. Not one single family member has visited. So this room has been sitting here and I have to clean it sometimes, but it's not necessary. You don't need to have that. But yes, we have apartments here with maid corners. And, I'm not bashing the people who want that. That's your choice. Okay? Again, remember, you, my audience, you the average person who has to watch your pennies. So the people who have money to spend, to redecorate, to do all this stuff, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to a sister who has to watch her pennies. So you don't need to come here with 7 suitcases, sis. You don't need to bring all your clothes that you think you love, that you can't live without. Yes, you can. What is it? Is it March? Oh, it's April. This is what I'm wearing inside the house. And I have the AC on. When you go out, it's hot and humid. You don't need to bring sweaters and long pants. You don't need that. If you're going to go to Boquete, you might need a sweater here or there, but that's about it. Okay? So get rid of all that. Plus, we have really cheap clothes here. You can go to Conway, to Titan, and to El Campeon, and you can buy a top for $5. There's a little place that, all the tops are $3. You can buy some things here. Give it away. So what are the things you can give away? Your china. I had a beautiful, flowery, pinkish china. This lady drove 2 hours to come get it after I posted it in Facebook Marketplace because she's going to have tea parties, and I was happy to give it to her. You need to get rid of your heavy furniture. Are you going to drag this stuff over here to Panama? It'll cost you. You can buy furniture here if you need to. The apartments here come furnished. Sis, if you're going to adopt a minimalist mindset, you're going to be okay with what's here. You may not like it. Eventually, you may want to change a couple of pieces here and there, but the gist of it, you don't need to bring all the heavy stuff here. The only thing I tell people, if you're a cook like myself, a lot of you ladies don't cook, then don't worry about it. But I talked to the sister this week. She's like, I gotta bring my juicer. Yeah, but see, that's one piece of an equipment that she's bringing. She's not bringing the whole kitchen. You don't need to bring all your air fryer and stuff like that. You can buy that here if you need it. So your living room, big furniture, big paintings, give it away. If you need the money and you can post something in Facebook Marketplace, I want to tell you, this is what helps me a lot. I sold a lot of heavy duty stuff to Facebook Marketplace. They came and I'm like, pick up only. And they came and they got the whatever I had in the kitchen. They got all my living room, dining room. And then towards the end, when they did pick up the bed, and I was still there for a couple of weeks, I had to sleep in my closet on the floor. Thank God there was carpet. But this is what it is. It's a mindset. I think my struggle that I struggled the most with. Now, I had some stuff that I left in my cousin's garage. You know, like I had like a little file cabinet with my legal papers in there. And I had one suitcase full of clothes and stuff because I was going to South Africa. But you don't need to bring all that, okay? I even had some pictures when I went back this time. I took them out of the frame and I tried to, roll some of them. But I have like 3 of them I bought here. I still haven't hung them because I'm like still like in a waiting period now and say, do I need to hang them? I don't know. I haven't done that yet. Okay. So I would say if you have some good, if you're a cook and you have like a couple of nice pans, yes, use one of your suitcases to put that in there. Cast iron, not as heavy. I bought a cast iron, a heavy one. I wish I had bought a middle sized one. If you like cast iron, bring one. Okay. Your juicer, I don't even know if you can put those in your suitcase. They might break. So some things you can buy here when you get here to Amazon because Amazon does deliver here, okay? So don't weigh yourself down. Clothes, let me tell you, I'll show you in a minute, a size suitcase that I think you can bring. 2 of those and then a carry-on. That's all you need. You don't need 6 suitcases, sis. Some people bring some hair product, yes, I would say, because I find that the quality here is not the same. So you can bring some. And then when you go visit, you can bring some more with you. But you don't have to bring the whole store, okay? Hair product, yes, somebody was saying they had a suitcase full of hair product. And I'm like, no, you don't need all that. That is part of the adjustment, sis. If you say, I can only have this brand, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble. Okay, so let's get going because we already spoken for like 20 minutes. Oh, I have this little thing here. I got to take a swag. Let me tell you. I drink mostly water and hot tea, but sometimes I have a taste for something sweet. And I stumbled upon this brand, Forest Tea at Ray. And it's only got 5 grams of sugar. What are you laughing at? Don't tell me you don't have one of those. I know you do. They're so small, I can't read them. It's like, anyway, so this is an 8-week fast track decluttering, okay? You've done everything else to get you ready to move. And now you're like, where do I start? Okay, week 1, clarify, like I just said, what you want to keep, what do you need, cooking utensils, maybe a chef's knife if you're a cook, right? Maybe a few paintings here and there, mementos, family heirloom and stuff like that, okay? What do you want to take with you? And then you've decided what to do with your car, with your house. Hopefully you've taken care of all that, right, sis? It's okay if you want to keep your house for you want to rent it because that's extra income for you. Another thing I wanted to say too, because of the environment that we're living in right now, and people are so overwhelmed and unhappy, you may choose to just go for a sabbatical for 3 months, 6 months. You don't have to make it permanent. And in that case, this doesn't apply to you, okay? This is for the person who wants in their mind, make a permanent move. And maybe you want to keep your house in the US and have a house here too. Some people do that. You may choose to be a snowbird. There is nothing wrong with that, sis, okay? But I'm talking to the people like me who are just closing off their house, selling it, renting it, okay? And your car, I got to tell you a story about how I got rid of my car. That was a godsend. So that's a lot to keep you busy for 1 week, okay? Because you need to be clear in your mind that you don't need all this stuff, okay? That you're going to find what you need here. You have to have a mindset of portability, that wherever I go, I'm going to be able to just seamlessly transition without being weighted down with everything. Don't do that. Week 2, you're going to decide what you're going to use personally, okay? What kind of clothes you're going to take. And then, just have piles in your room, okay? Tops, bottoms, undergarments. In Panama City, you can bring a light sweater. I have a sweater here. I never use it, okay? But maybe you're going to visit Bukete. You need, or you're going to go on one of those buses, or you're going to go in a meeting. You know how those rooms are always cold. You can bring a sweater. Shoes, flats, maybe 2 pairs. You need a pair of good sneakers, because if you're going to be in the city, you need something that is good, gives you good support, because those sidewalks are so uneven. There's always a lot of broken glass. You got to protect your feet, okay? But we have plenty of stuff here. You don't need to bring all your shoe closet here. You're not going to have anywhere to wear them. You may go to dinner with some friends once in a while. You can bring one pair of cute sandals or whatever. But if you're going to be walking around, you don't want to be cute. People have broken ankles and stuff here. Be careful. And you're a woman of a certain age, comfort over cuteness, okay? Seriously, I'm telling you. If you talk to orthopedic doctors, they say, you know what? You women are going to keep me in business with all your bunions and your hammer toes and all the crazy stuff we do to our feet. Oh, it's awful. Don't do that. Okay? So kitchenware, clothing, start sorting and have rows of things that you're going to take with you. In terms of food, you don't need to bring any of that here. Now, some spices, I would recommend that you bring some spices, okay? Because there are some spices you really have a hard time finding here. So, but you can't bring anything fresh. Don't get in trouble, okay? Week 3, decide how you're going to get rid of stuff. Now, if you had started downsizing way before, like I said, you had that friends party and you say, take whatever you want. When I was at that point in my week 3, I called a friend and I'm like, bring your truck, whatever, and come here and take whatever you want. And she did. It was emotional, but I was happy to get rid of it. I tell people that the most emotional part for me of moving was getting rid of my stuff. So be ready. You're going to grieve losing your favorite pen, your favorite, I don't know, dish holder. Something that you look back, you're like, oh, that was so silly. But it's got sentimental value. I get it. But decide how you're going to do that. And I'm telling you, Facebook Marketplace was very helpful to me. I sold a lot of things there. And of course, you usually don't know how much to price. Don't get hung up on that, sis, okay? All right. Also, Goodwill. I made lots of trips to Goodwill. In fact, some days, I would go today, I'd go tomorrow, and then the guys, when you pull up, they're like, you again? Like, yes, because it was like, carloads of stuff, your plants, your your pots, your decorative things and things hanging up there, and things that I bought at Goodwill, some of them, and I'm like, you can take that back. Clothing, take him to Goodwill. Even though, I got on a soapbox one time because they said that the CEO was making millions off of our donations. I don't understand that, but isn't that the way everything is over there? Okay, I don't want to get in another box, okay? All right, so decide how you're going to get rid of it. There is another place, what did they used to call that? They said it's usually not that safe. But anyway, stick to Facebook Marketplace. I was okay because I lived in a gated community. So I knew if somebody was coming to, I had to get their information, give it to the guard, and then they had to check their driver's license. So that gave me a sense of support. And sometimes I'd say there was a Dunkin' Donut, outside of my complex. I would say, I'll meet you in the parking lot there. And then I pop my garage, they come and say, man, I'm like, oh, Jane. And then, I sold my boots and shoes like that. It's work, but it's worth it. Okay. So week 4, you are doing your exit prep. You booking your flights. You are, finding out how many bags you're going to take. Decide in your mind right then how many bags. 2. You don't need 11. You don't need 7. 2. Okay. And then booking your Airbnb, because remember what I said, when you come here, you need to book your Airbnb for like 2-3 weeks to give you time to find your apartment if you have not done that on a previous scouting trip, okay? Because now you visited those neighborhoods, you knew which neighborhood you liked. Now when you come, before you come, you've contacted your real estate agent and you say, I need, and then give them your specs, what you want. 2-bedroom, I need amenities. I need a pool. I don't want to be higher than the 10th floor. Some of you ladies don't like height. Just tell them. And if you give them time, you don't just come and say, I need it next week. But if you contacted him weeks before, he has more time to gather the information and to give you what you want. But you got to tell them what you want and not expect them to read your mind. And you're like, oh, I didn't like that. I don't like that neighborhood. Tell them exactly what you want. And, I can help you with that. Just deciphering what you want in a neighborhood, in a building. And then, of course, you need to start joining those local Facebook groups because you are trying to, I'm going to do another video about building community, but this one here is important. You need to, a lot of you have done that though. You need to start reading the comments, contacting people, asking questions so that when you come here, you're not like a fish out of water. You know some names. You ask people to go have coffee, and important. Week 5, are you into garage sales? Personally, I think they're too much work. You got to put a price on it, and you got to put everything in the garage, and then chances are, some people have good garage sales, some people have awful garage sales. I've never had a good garage sale. I think I've done 2. After the 2, and I'm like, forget it. I'm taking it to Goodwill. I'm going to give it. And we had some of these boxes, in like Dunkin' Donuts parking lot where they say it's, donations. So I would go in there and fill that stuff. So I'm not playing with that. If I want to get rid of it, I'm going to get rid of it. Okay. All right. Week 7, confirm your financial situation. Make sure you have everything in place, whether you're renting your house, are you getting rid of your car? You know how much money is coming in. You gather all your information, keeping in mind all your liabilities. Do you have liabilities here at home? Okay, keep that in mind. I think it's a good time also to start looking at if you have any pets. One of the videos I did not include the cost of transporting a pet over. There are some companies here, and I can give you a couple of names that will tell you exactly what to do, 1, 2, 3, and the timing is important because your paperwork has to be within a certain time frame. So make sure you follow up with them. They speak English, and they're going to tell you because you don't need that added stress of worrying about your fur baby. Okay? Now, if you have a horse you want to bring over, I think somebody did, but they had to drive with it, right? And then one lady I interviewed, she's like, yeah, we have relocated some different animals. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I guess you could do a horse, but they do have some chartered flights that you can have. I just can't imagine a horse though, but they have some Great Dane that look like, mini horse. But anyway. All right, week 7, this is where we're at. And of course, during all this time, you really talking to your family members. You get that mental prep, you get them ready, hug them because they're gonna be sad that you're leaving. You sad, you anxious. Take some time and break it up, go on a weekend trip, go to eat, go to the beach, get the family kumbaya together because you need that warmth of your family members, right? Because, we are human beings. We're not trees. I keep saying, you're not a tree. You've heard me say that before, right? All right. Week 8. Oh, no. Did we do that was week 6 for the financial stuff. And then reaching out to the Facebook groups over here so that you start building your network. All right. Week 7, you start now, your house should be really down. And now you need to start sprucing it up, right? If you're going to, in week 7, if you're going to lease it, you may have to do a little painting touch up. You may have to look at the landscaping, make sure everything is okay, check the roof, the AC, do like what do they call that? A service or whatever. Start doing that, okay? Because at that time, my house was getting really empty and I had to time when I was going to turn my car in. I turned my car in, I think, the day before I had to fly. I drove to the dealership, dropped the car off, and then Ubered back home. And of course, when I was leaving for the airport, I Ubered again. And then that's part of your financial planning. Remember that spreadsheet I did for you about all your costs, because you have to include all that, because driving to the airport with a Uber, it's pricey. It was like $85 or something. So it adds up, sis. All right. Spring cleaning. Accelerate the giveaways. So this is when now, by week 7, if something didn't sell, you're going to give it away. I was so desperate because I had like so many clothes, suits and stuff, and they weren't moving. People, the garage sale didn't care for them. And I thought they were a little bit too, I don't know. I don't want to say that, but I didn't want to give it the goodwill. And I found a charity that, again, provides clothing for women who are coming out of jail, and they were trying to getting them ready to enter the workforce. So I called, and then they came and picked them up. So all I had to do was wrapping them up in a bag and put them in my front door. And they came with a truck and picked it up. I was so happy. Another one, I did that for a breast cancer group. They had women, so I'm like, take it. And they came and picked it up. Oh, I was so excited. You mean I didn't have to go to Goodwill to do that? Score. So week 8, what will you take with you? Make sure you've done your lease agreement with your realtor. If you're going to lease your house, of course, you make sure that you have a management company, because you don't want to be a landlord from here. You want somebody to have their eyes and be able to do it for you. And they don't charge a lot of money, so it's worth it to do that. And if you are putting your house up for sale, like I just did, make sure you have a realtor who's responsive, and it's one of the things that you have to do. Okay, and then you start packing your bags. This is when you start packing. Remember, don't overpack. A few top, bottom, couple of socks, shoes, maybe a couple of dressy outfit. I don't mean sequins. No, not sequins. Maybe a little black dress, something that you go to a cocktail party in the evening you can wear. People don't dress up too much here, so don't be sticking out like a sore thumb. Don't do that. Some people, they do some African theme stuff. So if you have like maybe a couple of head pieces and maybe a couple of African outfits, you might want to bring those, okay? Let's see what else. think about, your spices, your hair product, not a lot, only a few to last you for a little bit. And if you have mementos, pictures of your family, a couple of paintings that are not gonna, be too big. You don't need to bring, what do they call those? Ceramic stuff. It's gonna break in the in transit. Don't bring any of that. Okay. A couple of ponchos if you want to bring that, because this lady asked me, because in rainy season you may need that. We do have umbrellas, so you don't need to bring that. Don't bring wine. I remember bringing wine from France one time, and it was like, Mickey, why are you doing that? But I did bring it, and it made it here. It didn't, I mean, it made it home. I didn't lose the wine. All right, so it's just gonna give you an idea. This was to give you an idea of the importance of downsizing. And if you have a blueprint, so now I'm gonna write this, put it in a form, and so you can see week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just, it's not perfect. I might miss something in there, but I'm just such a list person. I am a left brain. I like to have things organized, and then I love having to just check, done, check, done. Keeps me on track. That doesn't mean I don't amend it, add to it. Not usually take away, usually add to it, right? So be flexible, but have a plan and work your plan, okay? And then maybe in the last week or so, you can have a family get together, just get all the hugs that you need. Make sure, one thing, make sure you get all your legal stuff taken care of, your advance directives, even though they're not going to be useful here, but because you're going to be going back. Remember, I talked about that. You're not a tree. You need to go back and get your fix with your families. You can see them. That doesn't mean you're never going to go back. And if you are just doing a sabbatical, then have a friend check on your house, open your house, air it out, and then you still have your house, right? Be flexible, sis. Remember that whatever you're doing is for your mental health. And also remember the 3 reasons people move away: cost of living, cost of healthcare, presence of an expat community. This week I heard a couple whose wife had a medical incident and she had to be in the hospital. And they were talking about how important it is to speak the language in the country that you are going to. I'm telling you, it is a big dissatisfier if after years of living in the country, you still feel like you can't understand when somebody's talking around you. That's upsetting. That's, after a while, it gets old. And it contributes to the reason why some people end up going back. So hopefully you would have already started some lessons. Now, this is a plug for my Spanish conversation classes that I am doing every Saturday at 10 o'clock. This is just to help people to converse. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to speak Spanish beautifully. And I keep telling the ladies, your goal is to understand and to be understood with as few words as possible. You can point, you can do some hand gestures, it's okay as long as you get your point across. Imagine being in a hospital, not feeling good. Yes, your doctor here, a lot of them speak some English, but the staff in the hospital, the person drawing your blood, taking your blood pressure, the nurse, they don't speak English. So you have to be able to say, I need some pain medication. I'm hungry. I need to call my husband. All these things are simple things that you need to learn, okay? Because that could be a problem down the line. So make sure wherever you choose to go, that you're going to be able to learn the language. That's why I'm thinking Thailand. I don't know if I could learn Thai at this point. The brain's been asleep. So I have to kind of watch wherever I go. I'm thankful, I'm lucky that I'm able to speak some Spanish. All right. I think I'll do that differently. I was going to show you my little digital scale that I bought for my when I was coming over, and it worked. I was not over. Both my suitcases were below 50. I was so proud of myself because I kept lifting and saying, yeah, in the 40s. Yeah, 45, 46. I was good. All right, guys. I hope this was helpful to you. 2 bags, 1 carry-on in your personal item. You don't need anything else. If you're going to hire and book for a whole pallet to come over, it's on you, sis, but I don't think it's necessary if you're gonna live a simple lifestyle. And I see people spend money and money redecorating that. How do you know you're gonna be here forever? Things are happening around us here. We don't know. So I say stay portable. This is the new word in my vocabulary. Portability. How fast can you exit if you need to? Or are you going to be laid down for all your with all your 11 suitcases? Think about that, sis. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope I wasn't all over the place, but I'm trying to get you to see that it's important to downsize early and to adopt a minimalist lifestyle, a minimalist mindset that you can be happy and comfortable with way less. We don't need to keep buying into the bigger is better and more and more and more is better. Anyway, I know I may be preaching to the choir, and I know some people are going to say, I want my stuff. Yes, sis, you can. You can. Yes, you can. All right. We're all free to do whatever we want. All right. I'm going to go. God loves you. I love you. Let me see. Did I get it? I still didn't get it. Overall, a portion, but